The rescue got started when I met my fiance, Zach. At the time, someone asked me if I would take a crow, and he said that he had raised crows before as well. So we took in this crow together and raised him and eventually released him. But raising that bird together kind of started it because we had talks about it, and I said that I didn't have the time. I have to work through, to pay rent and stuff like that. And then we made this deal that he would help me with the rescue, and he did. I don't think I could have done it without him, honestly, but yeah, it started mainly because of him when I met him. My name is Dana Slater. What I do is rescue orphaned and injured wildlife, mainly crows and ravens and other corvids like magpies, whiskey jacks, stuff like that. My rescue's name is Good Cause Crow Rescue. Birds come to me because it's the worst day of their life, essentially. They're coming to me because they've been orphaned, or they've been injured, or they are drastically ill. They come to me because they really need help. The idea of animal rescue never really crossed my mind. It wasn't something that I ever saw. We didn't have much for any kind of rescue in town, just the vet that we'd take our dog to. And as I got older, my want to help animals never faded. You just find an injured animal, or you're like the one friend who likes animals and they bring you the animal and you raise them up and stuff like that. And I was doing that with birds and crows for a while. My dad used to bring home birds when I was a kid because he'd be out in the woods logging. Zach had gotten a phone call and brought me this tiny, sickly little crow. It would open its mouth for food, but no sound would come out, just raspy and sick. And he said, "Here, take care of this." And I spent the next 7 months coddling this thing, finding medication online for it, helping it when it had breathing issues, and taking it into the bathroom and steaming the air. I even took him to work with me. I wouldn't let this bird out of my sight, and I fell in love with caring for them. Her name was Princess Gomez, actually. Essentially, I was just working out of a small backyard setup, living in half of a duplex. I had 2 cages and a shed with just a couple of kennels, nothing huge. I got all the permits, jumped through all the hoops, and started this itty-bitty little rescue in itty-bitty backyard in tiny little Lower College Heights. Other rescues knew of me after I was official, and when somebody called them for crows, they'd say, "There's a person in your area." They would give them my number, and they would call me. And then eventually that just built up to word of mouth, and then online, and yeah. After I moved from that place and moved into the place I'm in now, my very first home, it gave me the room to expand, and all of those pipe dreams for a bigger rescue suddenly became a reality. And it's all that we've been doing is fundraising and building cages and making room for the demand and help that these birds need, because there's no place else in the region that will take these kinds of birds. And I want to help a lot more of them. We've got volunteers now too, which is something I couldn't do before. It was just too small of a place to have other people running around that nobody knew. The neighbors would be like, "Who's this coming in and out of the house?" be a mess. But now that I'm out here and I've got something official and it's not somebody going through someone else's backyard, it's a lot easier to have, and I don't know, we're growing. I take the phone calls, I pick up the birds, I administer their care, I take them to the vet, a lot of the fundraising, the social media, and general everyday care of the birds, which includes laundry, food, their well-being, their cage cleaning, anything that they would need. My fiance, Zach, is the builder of us. He is a millwright and he volunteers so much of his time to building the foundations that we need and the sheds and leveling the ground and everything like that. The stuff that we just couldn't do without him. It's a lot of work on both ends. It's a lot of work for both him and I, and God, I love him for it because he wants to see this dream succeed. Like, he wants to see my dream succeed, and that's just awesome. It makes me feel really good. Feeding the birds is it's a dance every day, depending on which animal it is and what their needs are. I get up in the morning, I cook their eggs, I add in the vegetables or fruits and mealworms. It's an array, it's a smorgasbord. There's younger birds that you actually have to hand feed or force feed at first because they don't know how to eat on their own and they're too scared to eat from your hand. And it costs a lot. The medical bills do pile up sometimes in the busy season, but that's why we fundraise to try and get some bird-specific help. On average, per bird will run me around $120, and that's usually with the first bit of medications that they need, x-rays, all of that. We had one major surgery with a raven last year we named Bite Force. He had a large tumor on the end of him that was so heavy that he couldn't fly. And it would have been a $1,500 bill, but it ended up being $500 for us. $500 is still a substantial amount for a couple of people running a rescue out in the woods from their cabin. Our funds come 98% from the public's generosity, like Beneful dog food, eggs, stuff like that. I will put a plea out on Facebook, and next thing you know, I'm coming home and there's bags sitting on my doorstep from people. It's overwhelmingly awesome. And then the other bit of funds will come from the fundraising that we do, whether selling art or hats, t-shirts, buttons. A lot of people understand how special they are and how smart they are and how much we actually need crows in our community to clean up the trash that's left behind. So it's been great. I mean, there's the odd person that just says shoot them, but you get those in every group. There's been a lot of support, which makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing and a good thing, and I like that. My long-term goal with this rescue is to provide pretty much all of the animals in the north, all of the birds in the north, with a place that they can go to get help. It's needed. It's needed, and it's a job that I can do. It's not a job for everybody, and if you can do it, what is the Spider-Man? How does it go? With great power comes great responsibility? Yes. Great power comes great responsibility. I don't want to say it's great power, but it's not something that everybody can do. And it's something that is really needed. And I think that it is my duty to do that and to do it to the best of my ability, because, man, I love these animals. I love these birds. And they deserve a lot more. They deserve some place that they can go to be helped, or a place to go to die peacefully. They deserve it. Especially because most of the birds come here as a consequence of human existence. Like, we owe it to them to help them. If all of us just took responsibility for the animals that just came through our property, just in your little piece of grass or your little backyard city property, if you just made that one little place a little bit safer for birds, we're doing a good thing. Like, it would change a bigger thing. And keep your cats inside. That's about all I got.